Good morning everybody, it's Mark. Today we're going to put this Hook 3X that came with the Tracker Heritage on the bow of the boat and attach it to the trolling motor. We'll show you how that's done. It's pretty simple. A couple things you need to be mindful of while you're doing it, but we'll go through that as I install it. So here we go. Alright, one of the first adaptations that we're going to need to do is, I'm not going to do anything fancy mounting this. I'm just going to mount it traditionally. You know, in the future there's going to be an HDI unit. So for now, what you got to do to make this seat properly, and actually it's going to go like this, we're going to bend these tabs to the form of the trolling motor, just ever so slightly. So instead of a 90-degree angle there, we're going to have it bend around the trolling motor just a skosh. I'll show you what that looks like in a few minutes. We're looking for something in that ballpark. We're going to get it both sides looking somewhat like that and then tweak it a little. One of the keys is you want to use a fairly wide set of pliers to do this. If you use a narrow set, you're going to be a little lopsided on your bends. So use something that spans most of this. That'll help you out in the long run. It's going to look something like this. Well, we had to make a sacrifice for the greater good. We had to do this, and I'll show you what that's for later. Alright, so that rubber stripping that I had cut off the toolbox rubber, this stuff's really strong. What I want to do is wrap it around this shaft here. Eventually that's going to rub and turn, so I'm going to try and get this as stout as I can before I put it on. So I'm also going to put a little electrical tape around this as well. Pretty much, I wanted to sort of center the transducer between the skag and the prop, so we'll see how that works out. Alright, so we just have it snugged up just a little bit. Go for it. My tools got all destroyed, they were all up here nicely. Alright, so the key to this is you want this to be as square as possible to the skag, and you want the transducer to be level with this motor. I have chosen to bring it back from the skag a little bit only because in the future I'm going to do an HDI unit and it will fit perfectly when I do go to do that. So that's the whole point of why I'm putting it where I am. If somebody has an issue with why I'm doing it, let me know. For now, this is where she's going. That is about perfect. Alright, so there you have that. So something else. Like I said, we're looking for this gap in here to be consistent all the way through. In my mind, I want this to be as level as possible. And I mean, that's pretty good. So that's how that's supposed to look. And with that excess there, we're just going to cut that off and call it good. Alright, so for this portion of the install, you're going to need some heavy duty zip ties. Not too wide though. These ones are a little over 1/8 of an inch wide. And some electrical tape. And some snips to cut off your tails. Do not leave your tails on. That looks like hell, fellas. Cut your tails. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do 3 zip ties up this shaft to start. And before I do each one, I'm going to put some electrical tape around where I want those zip ties to seat. We're going to do one there. Come up here and do another. And split the difference. I'm just eyeballing it. But 3 connections on that shaft in this short span is plenty. I don't want to create a pinch point. And you can see that if you're right there, you're going to slam this motor down and create a pinch point every time. So what I'm going to do is go right there. And I want to run it across the top, and I'll show you why in a minute. So what I'm doing right now is I'm not going to tighten everything totally tight. I want to get it the way I want it and make sure I like it before I go ahead and cinch everything down. I have a 20 pack of zip ties. I really can't afford to make any mistakes. You want to use fresh zip ties too. I had some laying around in the garage, and in the Arizona heat they just get absolutely throttled by the sun. So, you know, that's what we're looking for. I'm not real concerned about the direction of the zip tie. Some people, you know, get excited if it's not all running the same direction, but I'm here to tell you it's going to hold regardless. And when you cut the tail off, who cares? Okay, the reason why I want to go on the top of the shaft as it folds down is because when you fold it down into position, okay, your pull handle to activate the motor out into the water is going to sit over the top of it. I didn't want it underneath it. I didn't want to create another pinch point potentially. So right now it's protected and there's no pinching. So that's how we're going to do this. And you're going to want to put a loop in it where the shaft changes. So it'll allow it to spin all the way around when it's underwater. I'll try and show you that. The way that this boat sits on the trailer, though, I can't deploy the motor completely. So it's kind of an issue. We know why we're doing this. The loop we're going to make, it doesn't have to be ridiculously big. But what it has to do is function. So it has to be able to spin out as this rotates. So it's not a big deal. Just have to do it. Probably going to do 2 wraps up this shaft and then break off of it. Alright, so we're going to maintain our same distance here. So go ahead and bring it up to here. And then we're going to chase it down this side. I'm going to drill 2 or 3 holes through this. And it's going to zip tie and run down this chase. Right down the side of this. Time to drill some holes. I think this is important. We're going to deburr these holes just in case we get some rubbing. I don't want that to just come off. So we're going to try one just to see how this works. I'm going to leave a little slack in this too in case I need to go up and down. I can always cut this off if we have a real issue. Alright, so we're going to drill out the last of these holes. Again, we're going to deburr these because I just don't want any pinch points or where things are going to get cut. You don't really need to attach it to a drill. It's pretty soft metal. Alright, and all we're going to do is button up this with the zip ties. Alright, I want to allow for a little slack. Per the chance, we have to raise this up and down a little bit. So that pretty much wraps up the motor portion of the installation. Some things you do want to be mindful of. You want to make sure and leave yourself a little bit of slack up here at the top. This loop right here is essential. So do not forget to add this loop and make sure and spin your motor both directions it goes and make sure that you have enough. The last thing you want to do is be fixing this when you're out at the lake. Alright, so phase 2 is taking off the front panel of the boat and hooking up power, finding a good location to put the finder, and we'll go from there. Alright, so now that we've done all of our cable management, we're going to go ahead and take this cover off, see what we're working with. Alright, now that we've got all our screws out of the way, the foot pedals out of the way, we're going to go ahead and remove this. The plan is to have the wires slide underneath this panel so we drill no holes other than maybe some strapping. Right. So we got our power here for the fish finder and the power for the trolling motor. They do have a quick disconnect here, which is kind of neat if you ever need to do anything crazy with that. I'm a little bummed. I thought we might have some more space to look into this area about a recessed foot pedal, but I might need to borrow a in-wall camera to see what's under there. Alright, something else that's key before you drill any holes, you know, you want to make sure there's nothing in the way. So my fish finder is going to go somewhere right in this ballpark. I'm not going to drill into anything, so we're good. So everybody knows that entire panel area pretty much is available to screw into, for the exception of about 5-6 inches around the plug for the trolling motor. So there you go. I want to make sure all that wire stays in that butt connector. Make sure you got a nice snug connection, and I'm going to tape these up. There you go. Alright, so as you can see, we're all done here. I got some wire management going on, and what's going to happen is there's a notch in the foot pedal that's going to sit right on top of this and make it go away. Anyway, we're going to keep going with this, and we're almost done. So now we're going to screw this guy down. Before we do all that though, let's make sure she works. Oh yeah. So we got power. We're good. I'm going to allow to have a little play. Not a bunch. That's about enough. Stainless screws, square heads. That's what I have. And I'm sort of using the edge of the boat right here. It's kind of a square edge for this. Before I blast them all down, I'm gonna get a couple in, squared up. There she is. Alright, and that's how you install the Lowrance Hook 3 on the bow of the Tracker Heritage boat. I imagine it's the same for any aluminum boat in the Tracker series at any rate. But managed to drill just 2 holes, 2 tiny self-tappers for some strapping. Other than that, just the mount. Kept the drilling down to a minimum, which is the key. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. See you soon.